And I'm live. I don't know if anybody's going to join this. This is pretty late at night. Um, but I wanted to make a video. I was going to make one at 3 o'clock, but I wanted to make a video about this. Everybody asked me about the sauce that I really like. This is Japanese barbecue sauce. It's Bacon's, but they finally made a lid that isn't terrible. Finally. So if you want to try this stuff out, now's the time to do it because the lid is actually finally functional. I wanted to talk about a few things with the channel. I started to, I applied to be in the membership program. I got accepted. So I got to figure out how that works. But sooner or later, I'm going to roll out the membership thing. It's going to be, the membership thing is going to be people get early access, badges, and all that kind of stuff. There's a couple other things. I got to figure it out. I'm also going to do a coaching group probably on Saturdays or Sundays, depending on people's availability on that. And then my Patreon is going to be turned into more of a one-on-one coaching thing. And that's where I'm going to take this from here. So people who don't really want to leave YouTube don't have to. My videos will eventually come out. I'm probably going to give like a 2-day like thing to the members, so they'll have it 2 days early. And I'll get to you. And then it'll go on my regular channel. So, if you don't want to pay for anything, it's fine. It really doesn't matter to me either way. But I just wanted people to have the ability to basically help this channel out the best that I can. Because the more and more stuff I have to do, the less time I have to dedicate to this. And I really want to get started with training, even if the training ends up being like weightlifting and stuff, because I still, that's a world that I was in for a very long time and am very knowledgeable in. How many grams of fat do you try and stay around daily? I actually don't count it that much, to be honest with you, because all I really eat is bananas, mangoes, dates, sugar, lettuce, some non-starchy vegetables, and then the starch of the rice, the potatoes, and pasta. Pasta is the only one that you really got to count it with. Pasta actually has a little bit more fat than the rest of them. But by and large, if you're just eating like that, I really don't say you have to count it. That's where, that Brooke Goldner thing comes in. She's talking about everybody oversaturating themselves with omega-3s. I don't really think that's a very good idea, especially if you eat high carb, low fat, because you really don't need to do it. So I don't actually count. I don't count. I have done some chronometers, and I forget what it was. It was like 9 to 11 grams of fat. It wasn't really that high. So I'm really not concerned about it. The protein was way higher than I thought, but I didn't add anything into it. It's just because of the potatoes. I'm trying to do raw and can't, if you can't do raw, then don't. I mean, it's really not that, it's not that serious. Anybody who's on here, if you could hit the thumbs up, because it sends it out to more people. But doing raw really isn't necessary. The raw till 4 thing really works. And I was talking to Nutrition by Victoria today, and we both agree that our bike ride performance goes way up when we add in starch and sugar, like way up. I read that low carb stops glucose raise, but does nothing for the insulin resistance. I could see that. Yeah, I mean, you would probably become more insulin resistant. I don't understand this low carb. I can't believe people are still doing it. It's crazy to me that, because you have to realize that you can't sleep anymore. Your hair starts falling out, even with females. A lot of females lose their period. I mean, there's just so many bad things with keto. Like, if you haven't done it long term, like if somebody just experimented with it for like a day or two, it's one thing. But like, if you've done it for like, I did it for like about 10-ish years. I mean, you're living on caffeine, you're living on stimulants, you're living on anything that'll give you energy. The binges are something that you just can't even understand. The binges are so bad that you just don't, it's almost like ravenous, like you're on like roid rage type binges. It's just it's so bad for you. So why people still can't put two and two together. I think I need raw till lunch and dinner. Laugh out loud. Go for it. You don't have to stay raw past. I mean, it's really good to start off with it. But I wouldn't eat raw and then like 2 minutes later eat cooked. That is going to set you up for gas and failure at all levels. Truth, raw till 4 is where it's at for fitness performance. I didn't even know you were on here. Um, yeah, my performance on the bike went way, way, way up. The only thing when I was raw, when I was losing the weight, the only thing I could do was couch to 5K, and that was it. I can only imagine how much better it would have been if I had the starches in there, because the starches really have, where like a banana, you never know ripe wise, like how much sugar's in it. It's a little bit more known in rice. Low carb creates insulin resistance. Yeah, just about everything it seems creates insulin resistance. It's crazy. To anybody who's new, I announced this on the beginning. This sauce that I really like, this Bakken's Japanese barbecues, finally has a lid that doesn't suck. I was so excited when I was at Costco today and I saw the new lid, so I figured I basically made an entire live around the lid on that thing. I don't know if I'm going to be on here forever. I'm trying to figure out what time is best to come on here for other people, but it seems right now that 5 o'clock was way better than 8 o'clock. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to blabber on about tonight. It just is what it is. I've been mixing carbs right now. I've been doing a lot of mixing starches with pasta, potatoes and rice, just to get things the calories up, because I have struggled pretty bad to get the calories in, because I just need so many calories, and it's just so hard for me to do it on raw. And that's another thing. When you're on raw, I mean, getting into calories without adding sugar, I just don't know how some people do it. I really don't know how people do it. I mean, whenever I was doing raw, I did add, back when nuts were not terribly expensive, I would add cashews. I've never really liked almonds all that much, and I would add Brazil nuts and macadamia. Do you agree with McDougall that if you eat DR protocol amounts of sugar, that your body will use that as energy to burn rather than fat? It's possible, especially if you have a lot of sugar around exercising. Your body's just going to burn whatever's in the blood system, but it's not going to hinder. It's not going to make you like gather fat. Do you do salads, vegan salad dressings that taste good, high in fat, with making them with nuts? Um, so you don't have to make salad dressings that are high in fat. Matter of fact, one of my favorites is not frozen mango, like during mango season, mangoes and salsa. Whirl that up in a blender. I mean, that is, and then you can just vary how much heat that you want. You can vary the heat, and sometimes I'll add mustard to that. There's another one that you can make, is like maple syrup and mustard. Kind of make your own, honey mustard, basically. That's a good one. Do I eat salads? Not a ton. I don't need a ton of them. I still got grapes up there that I meant to make a salad out of, and I can't. The grapes were just so heavily sprayed. You can actually feel the texture on them. I didn't realize they were that bad when I bought them. It just, so they're kind of sitting there. Might end up just throwing them out. I just don't really like having this much of the chemicals on there, and grapes are one that gets sprayed like crazy. I might actually go this year. Sandy's going to be back, so I'll have somebody to film. I might actually go pick grapes and apples and pears this year and bring everybody along. Did you gain weight after starting high carb low fat? No. I did, and still not losing any after 13 months in. Chances are you're not eating enough, or your sleep's off. Have you tested your hormones? Something seems off there. Mayo is all crap oil, and haven't found a good substitute. Some people make avocado mayo. I don't know. I don't 100% know how they do it, but I think they just whip up mango or not mango, avocado, and make some kind of a mayo out of that. Um, but I mean, you don't have to do high fat to have salad. Now, for me though, I can't have spinach without high fat. I just don't digest it at all. It's just it's terrible. It's terrible. It is terrible. I can't do it. Um, yeah, as far as the salads, actually the salads that I like the most is just making a fruit salad with a little bit of greens in it. If it's all raw, it'll digest well. If any of it's cooked, anything in fruit really don't mix all that well. So if you're gonna have cooked, I would actually kind of like lightly cook the like if it's peaches or something like that. But I don't like doing that. But you can. Or if you get it out of a can or a bottle or something like that, those peaches they're blanched anyway, so you can just add them. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to have a high fat salad whatsoever. You know, it's definitely not necessary. And there's definitely things that you can do to get around that. And if you're like even if you didn't want raw, if you wanted to do like like a cheese sauce or something like that, you can actually make that out of potatoes and carrots. So you just saute up or boil up some potatoes and carrots together, throw them in a blender, throw some nutritional yeast in there, and whatever herbs and spices you want. And if you whip that up, that actually makes almost like a cheese. So you really don't have to it doesn't have to be high fat at all. I mean, that was one of the things I did all the time back after I would ride bike. I would come home and I would cook up a bunch of potatoes and then I would make a sauce like that and just eat the whole, a lot, a lot. It really, especially with potatoes, it's got so much iron in it. It actually raises your hemoglobin a little bit. It actually has almost an EPO effect, so it can really help you out. But as far as staying raw, I mean, just most people can't do it. Most people can't do it. Matter of fact, I've known people that live in the tropics and they still couldn't do it. You know, how do you compare exercising with a rebounder versus a bike, etc.? I don't think there is any comparison, and it certainly doesn't translate. So it really, and almost rebounding is almost anabolic in a way, comparatively to a bike. I don't think they complement each other all that well either. I think I know there's people that have lost a lot of weight on trampolines, and if that's your thing, go for it. But I really, when I talk about translating, it's kind of like in the weightlifting world, like a front squat doesn't translate to helping out a back squat and vice versa. So, exercising on a rebounder really isn't going to help your cycling, and cycling really isn't going to help out your rebounding. So, it really depends on what you want to do with that. But bike riding is about as catabolic as you're going to get, especially once you're over like that 40-minute mark. That's what I would shoot for. That's what I always shot for when I was really out there and didn't have this ankle issue of mine. I would always make sure that I rode for more than 40 minutes because that's when you really start, because your body's going to burn a certain amount of carbs and fat at the same time. But the fat really starts taking over once you get into that 40-minute mark and above. It really starts burning a lot more fat. Whereas with the rebounding, I just don't know that you could get your heart rate up enough to have it do that. See, it's all about your heart rate and the Krebs cycle and how much fat and carbs that you're burning. So I really wouldn't call them comparable. Now, if you look at the NASA study, if you're into studies, they did put people on one of those machines that measures oxygen levels, and they found that comparatively to running on a or treadmill, the trampoline burned something like 11 times more calories than walking, six times more calories than jogging, and 3 times more calories than running. But I don't know how you would. I don't. There's really not much way to compare the two. They're just too different. I think actually, if you were looking to kind of tone up and build muscle, the rebounding would be much better than the cycling would. Which do you is better to help inflammation, potatoes or fruit? Fruit, 100%. But if the fruit's not ripe, then potatoes. So if you can't get ripe fruit, then potatoes would be better for inflammation. Do you think a stationary bike would work as well as a regular bike? No, no way. No way. It doesn't offer the amount of resistance. It doesn't offer the same gearing. If you got a good spin bike, then yes. Trophy Twins did bodybuilding on the rebounder. Exactly. So yeah, if you wanted to do bodybuilding, now you're not going to hit any bodybuilding levels of somebody who is actually going to the gym and might be taking performance drugs, but you certainly could build a better body cycling or than rebounding than cycling. Are you eating less refined sugar these days? Not really. I still dump a ton of sugar into everything because the stuff just doesn't taste that great. You know, I'm trying to I eat a bunch of bananas. It just doesn't taste as good as it used to. If anybody hasn't hit the like button, hit it so it sends this video out to more people. Thoughts on mono meals are the optimal for weight loss and digestion? 100%. Mono meals are 100% better than mixing food, especially for digestion. I've always wondered this. DR seems to advocate mono meals. McDougall just says eat corn, rice, beans without mention of this. McDougall's complete lack of acknowledging food combination is so irritating to me. It drives me nuts. It's my biggest complaint about McDougall, period. Because for me, for example, like you mentioned, beans and potatoes and stuff, I cannot do beans and potatoes at all. Like I can't do it. But he won't acknowledge that in a lot of his talk. So I just mono meals. If you're really having a hard time with digestion, mono meals will help you out quite a bit. But it's not going to build your microbiome. So if you're going to listen to Fiber Fueled, he's going to tell you to eat like 40, 50 different types of food a week. If you're going to listen to DR, he's going to tell you, eat one food a week. It's just all over the place. But if you're having digestion issues, which I know a lot about, I don't know if she's still on here, but Victoria has a lot of dealt with that a lot too. Digestion issues can really derail everything, and it'll make you feel fatter than you really are because you're bloated all the time. So your guts distended, and like, oh man, this isn't working. But I think people will watch that Gregor guy or whatever his name is, Gregor, whatever. And they see his daily dozen, and everybody, or like they'll watch Furman, and he's telling you to eat like beans, nuts, fruit, salad, all in the same meal. People do this stuff, and then like the gut gets huge, and they think that's the diet, but in reality, your food combination is just it's off, and when it's off, you're off. So yeah, no. As far as optimal for weight loss, probably so. Yeah. It's hard to not mix because I crave sweets after a meal of rice and soy sauce. All right, so if you're craving sweets after rice and soy sauce, you didn't have enough sweets during the day. That's telling you. That is 100% what it's. If you have got to have enough sweets during the day, in the form of fruit or sugar, and then you shouldn't have those cravings of sweets. If you are having that, you could always do like, I don't know how well this would combine. I was just talking about food combinations, but you could have like an ice cream at night. But chances are you should just up the fruit during the day. For optimal digestion, focus on fruit, sugar, starch. Mono meals based on soluble fiber. Yeah, 100%. 100%. While she's on here, she's got a good coaching group. Go check out Nutrition by Victoria. How is your stomach always flat? Do you this is a question for her. I guess she's answering it. Yeah, the mono meal thing really is. I mean, try it out for yourself, especially if you're making smoothies or something like that, or if you're making dinner. Just have potatoes and maybe like a sauce or something like that. Like I said a couple minutes ago, one of my favorite things to make when I really lost a bunch of weight, I'm actually going to this year, I'm not having talked about it too much. I'm literally going to carbon copy what I did in 2016 this year. I don't have the hills like I used to in PA, but I'm going to carbon copy it as best I can, because what I would do after my rise before I went to bed is I would just have potatoes. I would cut up potatoes and wedge fries like KFC style, but not frying them. Put them in. I didn't own an air fryer at the time. And I put them in the stove, or the oven. I mean, cook them. I would just make a sauce and just dip them, and that would be it. Lemonade and Sour Patch Kids are okay to have after starches if you need. Yeah. All right. So you know what? That's a good. So I would actually finish my night off with the gummies from Whole Foods, because I hate the dyes that are in this stuff. But yeah, if you want to do like a lemonade, like, put lemon in water and then some sugar in that, quite a bit of sugar. Actually, I think I was doing a cup of sugar and one lemon in a liter of water. So then you not agree with McDougall philosophy? No, 50-50 plate is terrible. He's even admitted it himself. Matter of fact, that's how I started this damn channel, is because of that 50-50 plate. I gained like 15 pounds on that because I kept on binging. I would just start eating muffins, my traditional muffins, and I mean the yo-yos that I have been through my whole life, and this is why I made this channel, just almost to keep myself accountable. Yeah, don't do that 50-50 plate, man. 90% starch, 10% non-starch if you want. The vegan mommy on YouTube swears by the 50-50 plate. She lost a ton of weight. Cares? It's like a person, and she's gorgeous. See, this is the problem that you run into. You got these women who are really pretty, and they know they can blow up a YouTube because they lost a little bit of weight. But if you watch them, I mean, they have to keep eating less, and less, and they start looking crazy, and they start having and then they start bragging about all the coffee they drink, and you can only tank your thyroid so much before you pay the piper. So you're going to eat less. You're going to have to be on some kind of caffeine or something like that just to function from the day. Cares. I mean, Victoria's a mother on here. I mean, she doesn't eat like that at all. These people, and it's funny. They all use the same formula. They all lost 70 pounds. They all lost. I mean, if you watch all these 50-50 plate people, they all literally have the exact same titles. They have the same everything. It's and people just don't watch this stuff. Sometimes I only eat fruit all day, and I feel so good at the end of the day. I can eat so many more calories on fruit and still feel light and energetic. Yeah, because it goes through your system real quick. Somebody had digestion issues. If you get ripe fruit, I'm assuming you're eating ripe fruit, it goes right through. I mean, just right through. And people think that you're going to get hungry right after, but it's not true. I mean, I chugged 10 bananas, 8 dates, a little bit of mango, and a little bit of greens, and half a cup of sugar. I don't know what time it is. over 4 hours ago, and I'm just getting hungry now. I'm about to eat after this. So yeah, people think they're going to get hungry right afterwards, but no, they don't. But that's at the same time, if you can't get a ton of fruit, then either get canned fruit or I don't know, maybe porridge. Like if you got a rice cooker, like everybody should have. I always link one down below. I don't know if it'd be on here though, but yeah, rice porridge helps a little bit. My problem with mono mealing white rice is that I never feel full. I stop because I'm bored of eating, but I feel no satiety. Well, then do it with potatoes, then I guess. I don't know. I mean, put a sauce on it, like this. It's the best sauce in America. I mean, this stuff, it doesn't have any preservatives in it either. The only problem that I have with it is the last ingredient on it is toasted sesame oil. So it does have a little bit of oil in it, but it doesn't come up in the thing. It says 0 grams on the thing. If it won't focus, it doesn't like it. So yeah, but soy sauce, whatever. Make your own sauce. Making your own sauce is actually more fun, I think, than anything. But that's me. I mean, I originally was going to be a chef, and then I just my feet couldn't handle it. So I kind of like cooking. I try not to cook too much though, because when you overcomplicate things, then it's just a little bit too much for your system. I'm giving it up. I'm giving it up. HL does not work, or it is too complicated. How important is going to bed at 9 p.m.? How is it too complicated? You eat high carb, low fat. How important is it going to bed at 9 p.m.? I don't buy into that. I say go to bed by midnight. How does it not work? Yeah, I don't know how it doesn't work. I'm giving it up. I just don't understand how it's too complicated. I mean, people try do all these crazy things. It's just so easy. Just eat some potatoes and rice and fruit. I don't. I got fat, not losing any. I mean, did you do a DEXA scan? Do you know it's fat? Do you know? Again, you didn't answer me on doing the hormone test. Your hormones could be way off. You might not be eating enough. There's just so many variables that go into this. You might have had like 20 years of starving yourself, and then you come into it. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna gain a little bit of weight. I just don't have enough information there. uh, I did, and DR says it's fine. I don't know. There's just not enough information here. There's just not enough information. We are built to eat this way. What is causing your weight loss to stall? Darian Ryder said it's fine. Well, what did he say? He had to have said something. I am his coaching group. Well, something's off there then. A year? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have enough context there. What is your current diet regimen? Do you track calories? No, I don't track calories. Current diet, I usually have about 25 bananas a day and then just a little bit of starch at night. I really haven't been tracking. No, I just don't. I can't get bothered with it. I do know that I wasn't eating. I know when I don't eat enough is when I can't sleep at night. What's your favorite way of eating potatoes? Fork in the mouth. Probably my favorite way is making cottage fries or regular fries. Boil or bake. I don't know. It depends on what I was going to have it with. Probably my favorite way of making them is to cube them up, kind of parboil them, and then cook them the rest of the way in the air fryer. And it's kind of like that cottage fries, especially if you put like onion in with it, and then just put a little sauce on top of that. Boil or bake. Oh, you already asked it. Yeah, I don't know. I know if you watch the medical medium, he says that if you boil it, you leach out all the goodness out of the potatoes. The only time I actually usually boil them anyways is when I am going to be making some kind of potato stew. Uh, how do you cope with seeing people you love kill themselves with bad food? I have gifted both parents in their 60s Star Solution and similar, but no dice. It's so damn sad. Uh we all come in on this planet with our own journey, and not that doesn't necessarily mean that you got to be here for a long time to accomplish that. It's kind of like an the old sex joke. Guy was in the bedroom for not very long, and he says to the woman, "Look, I came here for a good time, not a long time." So, not everybody wants to be here for forever. I know, one of the people that doesn't want to be here forever is my sister. So I don't know. Some people just don't care about this kind of thing. Some people don't really care about health at all. They just want to take a pill. They just want to, be on their way, and that's it. That's all they care about. You can't gift. You can't. It's like putting an audio tape in somebody's car and putting it to the exact spot that you want them to hear, and thinking it's going to change something. Like for me, for example, like I just think anybody who wears regular shoes, I think it's just absolutely ridiculous. But I'm not going to go around, beating everybody for wearing regular shoes. I think it's like, voluntarily putting a cast on your foot every day. Boiled, mashed, or in a stew is best. Yeah, I've been really grooving on stews largely because today I think it's like a high of 25 degrees outside. That's Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius. Probably a little bit under 0 Celsius. So yeah, it really depends on what like stews really aren't that great during the summer. So it really depends, I guess, on the weather and everything else. Brooke Goldner recommends half cup of chia seeds, flax seeds each day in a smoothie of greens and some fruit for fat loss. After doing low fat DR style, I'm going to try this for 30 days and see what happens. I don't see why, but I mean, the reason for her doing that and the reason it works so well is because most of the people that she deals with are coming from a high fat life, and most high fat life has a lot of omega-6s in it, and the omega-3s are completely missing, and it completely unbalances itself. And when it unbalances itself, then the inflammation goes very high because omega-6 causes a lot of inflammation. And if you're doing a high carb, low fat life, then you're already going to have that balance. But I mean, I guess see how it works. So true. They just want a pill. Everybody wants a pill. I mean, Sandy was at the barber right before she left with her son. And this guy was bragging about how his doctor told him he didn't have to stop eating his bacon and everything like that, even though he was like having a heart attack. Is half a cup of chia seeds is 40 grams of fat? My goodness. I mean, that's ridiculous. I don't understand why you would put yourself through that. That's a lot of it's a lot. You know what? I bet you the reason she does that is because half of her diet, if not more, is just greens. There's no calories in that, so she probably gets away with it. I wear zero shoes too. Amazing. Actually, I got the screen up here. I'm actually going to be doing a review on the ones coming out in next week. And I'm probably going to buy some to review. Do you totally disregard calories? Well, no. All right. So you're not going to totally disregard calories if you're not eating the right thing. So I actually agree with calories in, calories out if you just refuse to eat high carb, low fat. If you're going to try to eat Twinkies or like McDonald's and stuff, you're going to have to, you can't ignore calories. Are you familiar with John Kohler's work? Yeah, I interviewed him. He got me into juicing. I've got 2 from him, but now just want a Nama. That the Nama actually I don't like as much as that new one that just came out by Kuvings. I think the one came out by Kuvings is way better. It's like $800, but it is made in America and got a 15-year warranty. She treats severely ill people. Yeah. All right. So severely ill people aren't worried about their bikini body. They're worried about not being dead. So, I mean, you've really got to look at this Brooke Goldner and who she's treating. Very true. Guess I'm just curious. Thanks, Ryan. Had it today. I'm so full. Oh, you had half my. Oh, whew. I'd rather have avocado, but that's high in omega-6. Yeah, hit the like, everybody, if you could, because it'll send the video out to more people. Fat intake doesn't matter when calories are accounted for, even when doing keto. These people do lose weight. They lose weight because they're killing themselves. The body is shedding water, to try to neutralize all the toxins they're eating. It has nothing to do with the calories in, calories out. You tried Vibram. I have the Alpha One, the best shoes ever. There is no going back. Alpha One, is that Ultra? They're too padded for me. The padding on there. I actually, if I could go barefoot everywhere, I would. Goldner's program is plant-based keto. I get her ex-clients. Yeah, that's Victoria. Yeah, it is keto. It really is. I mean, she only lets people have like 3 bananas and a smoothie or something, but her husband completely goes off that. He has as many bananas as he likes. How often is it acceptable to have a cheat meal? All right, so you won't want a cheat meal if you're doing it right. You just won't even desire it. As in having a Beyond Burger or a Chipotle burrito. I'm guilty of this too, right? And you saw what happened to me last year. I initially lost 30 pounds in around this time of year, and then I did have a very stressful year, but if you're going to let this stuff seep in and you haven't really dealt with the issues that you've got, you're going to be in like a purgatory of never getting anywhere. It's kind of like saying trying to do something. Trying really is just saying a nice way of saying failed. You just didn't do it. Are plant proteins better for the kidneys? Yes, but I still wouldn't. You know, there's no real reason to do them. If I did go back to the gym, which I contemplate once in a while, um, I wouldn't change my protein intake whatsoever. I would not add protein, especially if I'm not taking any kind of anabolics. I can confirm the cravings for cheap food are nearly non-existent for me on this diet. Even emotional eating is way down. Well, so, all right, so who think about this, right? When people think of emotional eating, the first things they name off is like potatoes, bread, and all that kind of stuff. Is the stuff that you want to eat anyways. Why do you think you lose so much weight so quickly? Last time you went vegan, not so fast now. I lived in the middle of nowhere, East Pennsylvania, 30 miles north of Philly at that time. Um, I didn't have family around, so I was in charge of eating everything that I made, and I really didn't readily have available. Like where I'm at right now, I have 3 Whole Foods, 4 Trader Joe's within 20 minutes of me. I've got 3 Costco's within 15 minutes of me. It's so easy for me to just go get this stuff, and all of the restaurants around here have vegan friendly food, which is like 100 grams of fat at a time. Her husband used it. So anyway, so back to that. And hills. When I lived in East Pennsylvania, I mean, I didn't live in a real hilly area, but like if you went like a mile out, there was like a 20% grade hill that I could climb all the time, and there wasn't too much traffic. And matter of fact, that actual hill had a bike path that was like concrete barrier in between. So if you wanted to ride on that, I mean, so there's a lot of variables in this. When you live in the city, you're in your car, like I'm in my car more, and it's just I don't have as much of that activity. I actually lived just right outside this place called Green Lane Reservation for some of the time that I was there. I could ride my bike there and go hike and all that. So I don't know. There's many variables. And I was coming into it from I wasn't really yo-yoing at the time. I unfortunately, since being on the plant-based, the yo-yoing has started. Her husband used it for his boot campers. Apparently the chia release fat in his clients. She says omega-3 from chia does not get stored as fat, but is used in the cell walls to help release fat. Yeah, all right. Well, but who are these people? Like, what background do they have? They're eating Taco Bell and Doritos and washing it down with a pizza, and then and then having a Diet Coke, which is usually what people do. The omega-3s are going to make a huge difference for them. Do you do Uber Eats and Cycle? No, I don't. Uber Eats, I didn't like the way it operated. I only do DoorDash and Grubhub, but Grubhub, the orders have been garbage lately. How are you not losing more weight if you are eating mostly fruit and starch? Good question, asked Victoria. Um, I don't know. Maybe because I add overt fats once in a while. Do you put maximum weight loss in the same camp as Starvation Nation? Yeah. Even the creator, McDougall himself, puts it in Starvation Nation. I know he wishes he didn't. I got to get him on the channel or the new channel. Either way. Speaking of, I got a video coming out on Ryan Talks, that channel, tomorrow. I was going to have it come out today, and I completely forgot that I even made the video. So I got to edit and get it out. I'm just jumping in, but we'll go back and listen to all. Really enjoy your channel. Just wanted to say that I also am healing metabolic damage and insulin resistance. Yeah, I have pretty severe metabolic damage. And that's probably why I haven't lost as much weight as you would think I would. Which is probably why this channel hasn't gotten as big as I thought it would. What are you going to do? As soon as the weight comes off, this channel is going to be so huge. Is that your art behind you? Yeah, some of it. I got so much art. I keep meaning to bring I got a huge box of art over there, but I don't think, everybody cares. Um, but yeah, I drew all of it. Yeah, I used to have a website, but I shut it down. I probably should get it back up and running. There's just so much time in the day. Did Zico cause you your metabolic damage? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually went as far as to go to the doctors and have them put that air oxygen thing on your face and treadmill and had them calculate how many calories I needed and all that kind of stuff. I tried to stick with it. I actually gained so much weight off of that. And that was even in my keto days. Once keto hit, once I started doing keto, it was downhill for me. I mean, I'm honestly, I was only maybe 225 or something like that. At the worst, maybe a little bit more, maybe like 245 when I started keto. And then when I met my ex-wife, I was 215, like 4 or 5% body fat. So cool. I love it. Oh yeah, my art. Yeah, some of it's great, some of it's shit. It is what it is. These carnivores, what I eat in a day are so scary. I wonder how long the body can take only meat and eggs. Um, until they're dead, really. I mean, this is what's gonna happen. I already am seeing way more because I'm out a lot, but I've always been out a lot. I've always lived in cities for the most part, minus a few years that I lived out of the city in PA. I've never seen so many ambulances and everything in my life. I mean, it's all over the place. So yeah, the diet and other things are having an effect on people's health. Is protein even a factor in gaining muscle? No. If you do the math on how much protein that you actually need to gain muscle, it's not a lot. And most people work out muscle wise in a high rep range, which is only going to build sarcoplasmic hypertrophy anyways. But if you're working out in sub 5 rep and lower, if you're working out more close to the failure range, that's actually muscle tensile building. And that's where the protein actual needs come in, but it's still like something like 0.3 grams per pound or something. It's a very low amount that you actually need. So it's so little. Like I keep telling this story. I've lost a couple friends since I started this channel because they got in this protein thing. I'm like, and they're all women, like half my weight, and they're talking about they eating 150, 200 grams of protein a day. And I'm like, that is ridiculous. I didn't even do that, when I was lifting crazy amounts of weight. I don't know where this myth. Well, I do know where the myth came from. It came from that book, Complete Protein, and then in '78, our government took it over. It's just, the propaganda is at the highest level, and people fall into this trap. Did you stop lifting? Yeah, I had to stop lifting. I don't know if I'll ever go back. I really don't. You know, I mean, you see me rocking here like this. I mean, I don't know anybody who lifted for years that isn't in pain. I know a guy who eats only fruit and he is jacked. Yeah, you can see that. There's a number of people who only eat fruit and have very little body fat. You know, I added a brisk walk recently, and although I know I've gained weight, I was higher fat, raw, vegan, water faster. Oh gosh, yeah, the water fasting. That's another thing, man. I know a couple people who are doing fasting right now. That's just so bad. Free Melon Society is jacked eating fruit. Yeah, I've had him on the channel like 4 times now. Yeah, he's pretty jacked, but he eats so little. I think his calculating calories is a little off. Daring Rider is full of muscle with low protein. Yeah, but he's on anabolics. You can't compare that. You could practically just sit there on the couch and jab yourself with a needle. If you're low weight already, you're just gonna gain muscle. Have you ever wanted to sprout or grow microgreens? I have. Apparently they digest easier than I have actually done that. I have actually done that. I haven't done it in years. I actually have a grow shelf in the other room. I can do it at any time I want to. I just don't have the grow lights anymore. But when Sandy gets here, I might start doing that stuff because I won't have to work as much. Thought on marine phytoplankton. You'd have to ask my buddy, Jackfruit Watermelon on that one. That's her thing. I don't really have thoughts on it. I don't do it. The closest I've come to that is sun chlorella. Thanks for sharing your experience. I found a great benefit with water fasting, but the real healing started after I began eating a plant-based diet. I suppose there could definitely be a healing to water fasting, but it wouldn't be healing to your hormone level. And that is where people are going to run into trouble, and they're going to start using it as starvation. And I think that gets really dangerous. Anybody who hasn't hit the like button, if you could hit it, so it'll send this video out more. During Rider is on gear. Yeah, of course, he's definitely on gear. He's actually on a lot. I'm surprised how much he can get. Do you like living in Ohio? Do you dream of living in the tropics like a lot of No. No, I really don't care about the tropics all that much, largely because look how many venomous animals are there, and I have no interest in dealing with that. No. If I could live anywhere, I think it would be Japan. I was talking to or Ireland, but Ireland's government right now is ugh. I was talking to a guy today and I said we are frugivores. He then tried to say that we are how are we hyper carnivores? We suck at everything when it comes to being outdoors. We have nothing nothing to live out there. We have to implement everything. There is no creature that lives outdoors that needs anything but the body it's in, except for us. So to say that we're hyper carnivores, my body is firming up with the high carb and brisk walking. It's weird as I'm eating so much, but sticking to 95.5. I'm not worried about weight, although clothes are too tight. Yeah, it'll happen for a little while. It'll come off. Once it starts coming out, it comes off fast. Move to Texas, East Texas. Oh, is that where that's where Houston is, right? I got family in the Woodlands. Um, I've been down there. It's been a long time. What do you think people are living? What do you think people are leaving veganism like flies? Well, all right. So there's a couple things going on with people leaving veganism like flies. First, they're on YouTube. They like money. And the popular thing to do is either be a raw vegan, a faster, or leave veganism for carnivore. Those three right there are making people a lot of money, and a lot of these people are just doing it just for the money. A lot of people are saying that their digestion got healed and all that kind of stuff. There's no fiber in meat, dairy, eggs, so you're not gonna have as much of that fiber, but you're gonna stop taking a dump, and then you're gonna wonder why. So I have a feeling that's it. Or they were trying to live on broccoli, cauliflower, half a potato once a week. You see a lot of terrible ways of eating out there. Calories really don't matter for fruit. Also, Eli eats less because he has a really ultra clean body. I guess. I don't know. I've mentioned this with him a few times. I think what happens to him is he is on set or something like that, because this has happened to me back when I worked a ton of hours at the fish factory. You work so many hours, you actually forget to eat, and then you have to make it up, and I think that has, I think that has a lot to do with why he eats so little, and, he does add some fruity fatty fruits in there once in a while. Japan would be amazing, best food ever too, miso. Yeah, rice is actually gohan, and that actually means meal. Veg noodles, yeah. Yeah, it would be amazing. I love the atmosphere of the culture. Have you tried a smoothie diet? No, I wouldn't wanna do that. I think the fiber is just too compromised to do that fully. But Eli is so skinny, he's only oh, is he? He's taller than me. Um, I don't know. I know he's gonna be coming down to Ohio this year. We're gonna try to meet up, so, I'll get to meet him in real life. People are not, patient every yeah, alright, so that's the name of the game, but people just are not patient at all, so That's what happens. They're like, it took them 10 years to get as fat as they are, and then they want the weight to come off tomorrow. And as soon as it doesn't come off tomorrow, then, or like if they're watching a channel like mine, and as soon as I'm not, 225 pounds in a year, they just write me off or themselves off. um, People are not patient. Everyone, including myself, thinks that results should come much quicker, so they switched it up so soon. And yes, you are right. Vegans don't eat enough calories as the fiber fills. Yeah, that's another issue that you run into, especially with the 50-50 plate. And that's the point of it. Um, and it's bad. And that's why McDougall himself says he's got a lot of people that get to that last 25 and they can't figure out how to get it off. But he never talks about hormone levels or anything like that. So, you just don't know. Lockman claims 1,000 to 1,200 calories per day as well. That isn't even the daily requirement for an infant. I don't understand these people. And this is the same people on all these stimulants. I mean, you should see. Yeah, everybody knows that I do DoorDash. You should see the amount. Like, I don't do a ton of grocery runs because most of the time they're a waste of money, of my time and money. Um, but you should see the amount of these orders that is like, all of the what are they called, like Red Bull and stuff like that, which I've never even had. What's your other channel called again? Ryan Talks. And then the newest one that I made, I'm just experimenting. It may go away. I don't, or I just turned into like a natural movement channel. But right now it's called Raw Vegan Eats Plant-Based. But I actually think I might change the name to Vegan, something natural movement. You look like that Nico Watch guy. I don't know who that is. What's your other? Oh, are you saying that you should not eat any veggies besides? No, no, no. You can have vegetables, right? But as a garnish, I like adding vegetables. I like today. I made a smoothie. I probably put half the carafe of lettuce, and I still crammed in 11 bananas, 8 dates, and some sugar. So have vegetables, but just don't make it your mainstay. When 100% raw, do you feel like you're eating all day to get enough calories in? I want to go raw, but it's so hard for me. No, not necessarily. You can do it and not be eating all day. But I don't think that you could do raw vegan and not have bananas and dates. And now that it's coming into mango season, so those three, bananas, dates, and mangoes, you got to have those three in, otherwise you're gonna fail hard, or you're gonna live on avocados. Once you realize that high carb, low fat makes sense, and the light bulb goes on in your brain that you have to go through the weight gain to fix the metabolic damage and resistance, it's kind of freeing. It is, especially if you throw out the scale. Now, I can't throw out the scale because the only reason I bought my scale is because I run I don't run it as much. I used to be shipping hundreds of packages a month. Now it's like a couple. But I only got this scale because I needed, because I was shipping. I like to ship. I like to fix and ship vintage electronics. I had actually a workstation. I would fix the stuff, and ship it out. But I needed a scale for that, so I figured I would just get a scale that talks to my phone, and that's the only reason I have a scale. But I can actually stand on it. Crazy how Walter Kempner's somebody deleted before I even got there. Crazy how Walter Kempner's patients lost so much weight in just 9 months. Many of them were given death sentences. All right, well, but the thing was, he had them on 400 to 800 calories a day, most of them, and he had them living there. So if somebody had um, issues, he could handle it right away. Do you think vegan and spirituality are connected in a way? I don't think they're connected, but I think they help each other. I think especially the more raw you go, um, it's weird. You have a much easier time manifesting things when you're fully raw. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, I mean, just look at my channel when I was raw last year. I mean, I was getting 200-300 new subs a week. Now I can't even pay people to subscribe to this channel. So, you manifest things so much easier. I'm hoping the lipids in my blood will leave quicker with a little exercise. All right. So when you start eating high carb, low fat, your body's going to start dropping triglycerides into the blood system to start getting rid of the fat that you have in your body. And it's going to show up in your blood tests. And nobody understands that for whatever reason. As I think, who keeps deleting? Message retracted. As I think this is what keeps the weight on longer. I know it will come off. Well, it is the weight coming off. It just isn't as fast as maybe you want it to, you know. But yeah, you're going to have triglycerides show up in your bloodstream. It's going to happen. That's just the name of the game. Oh my gosh, it's 9:00. Yeah. Why did you not gain weight on hard carb when you had keto earlier? Oh, this leads to weight gain. I don't know what you're asking. Why did you not gain weight on high carb, low fat when you had keto earlier? I think because I was 400 and some odd pounds and anything was healthier than what I was doing. Sometimes when I eat pasta rice, a crash. Why is this? What? Sometimes when I eat pasta and rice, maybe I crash. Why is this? Probably because your resistance is high. Jesus ate fish, but uh, they say he ate fish. There's not a single scripture that shows him eating fish. The only thing that I've ever seen him eating is fruit and bread. How to quit weed addiction. I don't know. Go watch jackfruit watermelon. I think she talks about it. She did. Any benefit to taking a lipase enzyme when the body starts dumping triglycerides? No, because I mean it's already at its final form. That's not going to help there. It might help if you've got a bunch of built up in your system, in your digestive system. Do you think becoming a carnivore have anything to do with political leaning? Well, it is paying a lot of bills, probably. High meat, he multiplied. Yeah, I mean, he multiplied. This is how these people were making money. He had to show that he had the ability to manifest. But eh, there's not one point that I've ever seen him eating fish. Uh, remember when you first started and you couldn't find one person doing Starch Solution that was doing 50/50 plate? That wasn't. Yeah, when I first started, man, you must have been around since the beginning. When I first started, there was not one channel talking about Starch Solution that wasn't on the 50/50 plate. None of them, except for his, ironically. So his was the only channel talking about everything but for the 50/50 plate, but everybody else touting his book was talking about the 50/50 plate. I think a lot of people have fallen off that because it's just not sustainable. True, but the cooked fish for Peter and the others after they were fishing, insulin resistance causes sugar crash at beginning of going home. Yeah. Yeah. Insulin resistance is going to cause a lot of issues at the beginning. Meat meat just lowers your vibration. Well, it's dead. It vibrates lower than death. Did you ever want to go? No, that's always free. No, I mean I don't do oil, but I really don't like salt all that much anyway. Meat just lowered. Oh, you already wrote that. What are your thoughts on New World Order? I can't talk about that here. I can't talk about that here. Why don't you like 50/50 plate? Why? Because it promotes starvation. If you're going to do just only starch, do 90/90/10. Most carnivores call themselves truthers. There is a lot of these carnivores now that say that they feel like they have God complex. Which program is sustainable that's plant-based, high starch? If you want to just do starch, do the starch solution 90/90/10. I think I just released a video about that on my other channel. It was a very short video, but that's what he talks about. Anybody that goes to starch solution should do 90% starch and 10%, whatever, like non-starch. Do you fail if you don't eat enough? Yeah, you're going to fail, and that's why I gained the weight back. If you don't eat enough on high carb, low fat, you're going to fail, and you're going to, in my case, have hummus and muffins and chips, stuff like that. Your body needs calories, and it does not care about your bikini body or whatever bathing suit body. Chips. Yeah. Yeah. Me and chips, especially potato chips. Oh, we have a past. All right. I think I'm going to call it. I got to eat. It's 9:00. Unless you're Eli. Well, he doesn't eat chips either. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess your digestive system is going to get to a point that it's so efficient that you're not going to have to eat as much as you did. Does having a schedule to eat help? No, because you don't know we're going to be hungry. I would eat first thing in the morning though. How many calories do you think a woman should have that is say 5'5"? That's impossible to answer because I can't. You're going to have to listen to your body on that one. As soon as you start cramming in the carbs, that's when you see good changes starting. Yeah, exactly. Candle lady, that's your answer right there. You really got to cram them in. You'll know. When you're at night and you've eaten so much, and the thought of eating anymore makes you want to vomit. That is usually when you're at where you're supposed to be. Next time, do a mukbang. No. Uh, Thanks. Good night. At least 2,500 calories. I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, I got to eat. I'm going to have a late night, unfortunately. So anyway, thanks for joining. And yeah, subscribe, share the video if you can. I gain weight when I eat too much. No, you probably gain water weight. You really, that's too much for this one right now. Anyway, I'm going to get off of here. Peace. Thanks for joining. I'll talk to you in the next one.